Lilith in Aries, the repressed, exiled expression. These are the signs her instinctual wildness has been exiled or punished. Afraid to assert herself, fears being too much, too aggressive, feels unsafe expressing anger, so it turns inward, autoimmune, inflammation, self-sabotage, explosive outbursts followed by guilt or self-blame, chronic people-pleasing to avoid rejection or being labeled as selfish, feels like she must tone herself down to be lovable, lost her voice from past punishment, childhood, past lives, or ancestry, passion suppressed and misdirected, fueled into self-criticism and addiction, competes with women instead of co-creates, internalized patriarchal dominance, becomes the martyr who overgives and underreceives, constant internal war, rebel versus good girl, sees herself as bad for wanting autonomy, freedom, and sovereignty, doesn't trust her instincts, overthinks, or procrastinates out of fear of failure. So we're having these videos on each of the signs, and the signs do correspond with a house. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, meaning it's the first house, and it is the house of identity. Now, I'm not going to go through each and every sign and house exactly the same. I'm going to relate them to you in the ways that make sense for me. I'm an Aries rising, and because of the psychosomatic, the mind-body education I had to do for myself to understand why I had a psychosomatic injury of my neck, I learned about identity and how identity is formed. And so this makes so much sense if your Lilith is in the Aries sign and or the first house, because this has to do with who you perceive yourself to be. And if you can't be fire in Aries, then that fire turns inward. And that is something that I learned a long time ago, maybe even in high school, that depression is the outcome of anger turned inward. So if you think about this fire sign and any of the fire signs, but especially Aries, since it's the first one, this is like such powerful newborn energy. And if we are not able to be able to express our way of piercing the veil or looking under the rug, then these are the outcomes that we're probably going to experience. And we can work with these outcomes with your diet and your exercise, because with your diet and your food, that's where you're really going to see your feminine energy. And working out and committing to yourself and following through is where you really have to face the fears of people judging you for putting yourself first. And so you'll really be able to work this out within the program, within your habits. So you'll work on this Lilith energy at the same time that you are getting hot. So the evolved Lilith, the Lilith in Aries, the evolved priestess slash wild woman expression, when she remembers herself as sacred fire, not chaos, fierce devotion to her truth, even if it disrupts the system, uses sacred rage as fuel for healing, leadership, and protection of the feminine, sets boundaries with clarity without guilt, embodied leadership, moves first, leads from instinct, then invites others to rise, sensual fire activated, sex, pleasure, and movement are portals to divine power, psychic fire sees through manipulation and illusion with warrior clarity, walks with the wild woman, honors her instincts, trusts her gut, follows her flame, moves through death cycles with power, doesn't fear loss because she is rebirth, reclaims blood, anger, and ambition as holy, dances under the moon, makes decisions based on the inner drumbeat, not outer noise, leads other women into reclamation, not from ego, but soul, lives unapologetically. I am here. I am fire. I am sovereign. So I love this because Aries is the warrior, where its axis, Libra, is the god of war. So when you're able to embody your Lilith, you are like the fighter for humanity, not the distortions of world powers. And so that is just like really freaking fabulous. And when you're able to do this and really embody this, especially when you're thinking about it in terms of what you want to look like, how you want to feel about your body, in your body, when you're doing that for yourself, you know the fears that you have to face to get to that commitment level, to then have that confidence level. So for you to do that as this Lilith and Aries is really going to be so powerful for the women around you if you're using it in this way, right? That you don't have the internalized patriarchy where you're in competition. So go you. That's really awesome. Okay, so Lilith would say, if she was repressed, she would say, I'll stay quiet so I don't scare anyone. The evolved is, I don't ask permission to exist in my power.